Gzim, Sunny, oh my gosh, so good to see you both. How long
See you too, Renee.
is it so weird that you two haven't been able to like see each other in a while? When was the last time you guys were in the same place?
I think it's been over a year and a half.
Oh,
Right, Gzim?
man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been a
Yeah,
long time.
we went from being together every day to a year and a half. Almost like we broke up.
Isn't that it's like so weird and sad when you're so used to seeing somebody all the time, then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, what? And, we've got Gzim like all the way over in Europe, so far away, way different time zones. Sunny, you're in BC?
Yeah, I'm in BC.
You're
Right
in
outside of Vancouver.
Abbotsford, right?
Abbotsford, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I never say Abbotsford because nobody really understands it, but since you're
I got you.
you're a Canadian, you got me. Yeah.
I got you. I know. I was actually just up in Toronto last week, and it was so nice to be home. I had not been home to Canada in like 3 years. Last time I was in Canada was when we had SummerSlam in Toronto, which was years ago.
Long time ago.
It was a long, long time ago. Yeah, so it was nice to get a little Canada
I'm
connection.
much happier and I feel so much better when I'm in Canada. I think it's the Tim Hortons and the air and all the good stuff.
There is something in the air for sure. I feel
It
that way
is.
too. I feel like I like regain my like strength and my power as a human being when I get like into Canada.
100%.
My like spidey senses.
100%. Yeah.
Gizem, do you feel the same when you get back home?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's that home feeling, right? That you miss.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like the States a lot, but there's no place like home.
Always. I know. It's so nice. Okay, a year and a half since you guys have seen each other. What's going on? What's happening? What have you guys been up to? It's been obviously such a weird time in the last year and a half, but what has gone on between parting ways with WWE to where you're at now?
Well, we kept very silent, of course, after WWE. We did it a little bit on purpose. Most people who leave WWE, as you know, like they jump on every opportunity they get.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't, right? We didn't jump on every opportunity. We wanted to wait out a little bit and keep the silent part of it, keep people guessing, right? What we're going to do next. And we didn't want to just come back for the sake of coming back. And we always felt like we wanted to do something bigger than real life. And we hooked up about 12 to 13 months ago, over a year ago. And we just started talking like, what are our next steps? What are our next plans? And that's how we got into our new project, Boy Planet. We've put a lot of time in it behind the scenes. We didn't want any social media coverage on it or any interviews or nothing. Like we like the silent part of it, be ourselves. And of course we missed it. We missed the community part of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
It's such a strong community, even though we couldn't engage on a level as the most people did because we weren't really the typical babyface. We were always the bad guys throughout our whole careers.
Yeah.
Of course, we look like that, so it fits as well. But of course, we wanted to engage in the community as well a little bit. And that's how we got a little bit into the NFT world. And we launched Boy Planet. We've been growing so fast. We built a community ourselves in the last couple of months. And this is just the way we feel we're coming back in a way that's bigger than real life in a virtual world.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? What do people get out of it?
It's, an NFT, quickly said, is a piece of art. Everybody can make an NFT. If you're a painter, if you're an artist, you can draw something up, make it an NFT. There's a lot of bad blood about it, like controversy. People think mostly like it's scams, is this, is that. It's not. It's somebody who expresses itself in a way of art. And we got very fortunate with a great artist who listened to us. Our story was a little bit, me and Sunny, we always felt like we weren't humans in the ring. We were like wild animals because that was always the way our matches went, like high pace, crazy, aggressive, nonstop. So that's where the name Boy Planet comes from. It's art. It's a new virtual reality world. We're coming back, but accessible to everybody, right? Like you don't have to be a bad guy. You don't have to be a good guy. We can wrestle. We can be ourselves, but it's not going to be on earth is going to be in the virtual reality world. It's crazy. And we really think it's going to take over. Here in Europe, it's already taking over. People already spending more time in the metaverse, in the virtual reality world than in the normal world. Wow. And the States is actually catching up on it.
Sunny, what's your take on the whole thing? How do you feel like the steam is picking up in Canada with this?
It's one of those things where it's growing day by day. You know, it's very early on as a project or as a whole concept of NFTs, but everyone's getting involved. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like the internet when the internet first came out. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, that's never gonna work. But look at it now. We can't live without the internet. We're talking to each other from all different parts of the world on the internet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and same with NFTs. They're one of those things. It's going to be a representation of who you are, what you believe in, and it's basically like, if you wear a certain type of clothes, it kind of represents who you are. Sure, you know what I mean? So it's going to be the same thing where in your virtual wallet, the kind of purchases of NFTs you have, that's going to show people the kind of person or your beliefs or what you're involved in, kind of in that concept. You know what I mean? But as the months, not even years, as the months go by, everyone will be getting more accustomed to it. And that's the beauty of it, right? So it's so new, and there's no boundaries. There's nobody, nothing's written in stone, which is right or which is wrong. It's all open concept, and everyone can just be themselves, you know? And it's like, even as far as like Gzim just said, we were bad guys and we weren't allowed to kind of be close to the community of the wrestling world as a babyface would. Mm-hmm. But in this world, we're just like everybody else. We can talk to anybody. We log on to the Discord. We talk as much as we can. If anybody I was giving relationship advice the other day. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where we can do things we've never done before. And when me and Gzim came up with the concept and we started looking into this, I was like, yo, this is cool. You know what I mean? This is one of those things where it's never been done. No wrestlers ever thought about it. Wrestlers are these badass, you know, like non-approachable figures in the world. But if we do this is totally different, and we've been gone for so long, and I think it's going to be huge. You know what I mean? So that was
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say, I mean, I am definitely one of those like dummies that I do not have my finger on the pulse in the metaverse. So it's interesting for me really learning about this through you guys. I do need to catch up and pull my head out of my ass because it is everywhere. It is the thing. When you guys were building this and putting everything together, what were the things that were really important for you guys to have as part of your NFT?
Well, definitely the community aspect of it, I think. Yeah, the community aspect of it. We built up a team of 6 people. We have a tech guy, we have an artist, we have a marketing guy, we have us, of course, and we hooked up with this professional soccer player.
Oh, cool.
It's a day-to-day community engagement. Like we're in the Discord, like we're talking with people. We have a special mental health chat. We have a sports chat. We have a wrestling chat. We have health chats. Like we talk about everything. And if you see people engaging so much, it really, really opens your eyes. And that's one of the things that me and Sunny were really, really strict on. We really wanted the community part to be really strong. And that's one of the things that we really wanted. And of course, we also wanted something that nobody has seen before, something that nobody has done before. For example, with our figures, we're fully 3D, fully adaptable to any metaverse. It's crazy. We're actually releasing a video game called Bullet Planet. It will be available on PlayStation, Xbox, and so forth. It's actually like we're taking such big steps like that we never could have dreamed of. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to be bigger than real life. Of course, like, you know, the saying in WWE, everything is bigger than real life. Mm-hmm. Once we left WWE, we felt like, where can we go where we have that same feeling? Yeah. Of course, we had offers of multiple companies and nothing felt the same as this right now. Of course, in the future, you'll never know, right? We can make a comeback in the real world. Of course, we're already planning some stuff to create in the Middle East. It's going to be huge. We're actually flying over there in 2 weeks to set up some things. and it's going to be huge. We can't tell too much about it, but it's going to be a very exciting time for us. Of course, we want to wrestle in the real world as well, show our talent off. We worked with this forever, right? I was the youngest heavyweight in Bellator history. I was the youngest NXT tag team champion. I got actually signed when I was 18 with WWE. And I was 340 pounds, like muscle, a big guy. And we wanted to come back something that was bigger than real life. So that was one of the aspects that really needed to happen. And we feel like we're getting there. We're getting there. And as soon as everything settles up, like, I think it's going to be huge. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, before I get into more of like some of the wrestling stuff with you guys, in this metaverse world, and you're on the discourse talking to people and they're getting this other side of you, what has been kind of the biggest reaction from people really getting to know you? Like you said, when you guys have been these heels for the longest time and now they get to know you guys as people, what has that reaction been like?
They can't believe how nice we are. They're like, oh, I get it all the time. AOP is so cool, man. Like, we've been like this our whole life. You know, we're good at that character, you know, being that badass heel type character, you know. But like in real life, this is who we are, and it's nice. That's why I'm so excited about this project, because me and Zim both, we get to show who we are. You know, we aren't just those mutes that just beat people up, you know. So it's very very nice in that way. Like, I'm enjoying the whole process. It's awesome.
I bet that's got to be kind of difficult when you do have this like warm, fun personality, but you don't ever get to show that to anybody.
Never.
It must feel nice to get to like finally reveal that side of yourself to people.
Definitely. So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So on the wrestling side of things, yeah, you guys must be getting hit up left, right, and center. I feel like when you guys in WWE parted ways, that was really a jaw dropper of like, what? How, what, why, where, when? Like, it blew my mind for sure. So what was the reaction for you guys from some other independent wrestling promotions and, you know, all of the opportunities that are available now?
So basically what was the whole, how it played out was the pandemic started, and at the time, like, everyone was super uncertain about what was going on, you know. Like, we didn't know, like, if we won, because I was living in Canada, in Vancouver at the time, so I was flying back and forth.
Oh, you were flying back and forth
at the time, but then the borders shut, right?
Got it.
So I couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And then Zim hadn't been home in I think 2 years at the time, to Amsterdam, and like, he was worried about his own family, because the whole world was getting shut down. People were getting sick left, right, and center, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just where but WWE had approached us with something different that they wanted us to do, and we were just like, hey man, we just don't feel comfortable doing it. And at the time, like, that was the best decision for us, and we decided to just stay with our families and stay home. You know. And that was all it was.
To be a little bit nosy, what was the thing that they had offered you? If you want to talk about it, you don't have to, but
I'd rather not. It was something. Okay. It was something in the company, obviously, but like, at the time, if you remember, we were working with Seth. We were working on top, and we had this huge storyline, right? Mm-hmm. And but at the time, that Zim had just gotten hurt. He tore his bicep in one of the main events at Raw, and he tore his bicep. Like, I think that was the last Raw before all the restrictions went in, and then we went without a crowd, I believe. And he just torn it, and the whole plan with the whole time was coming back and just doing what we were doing before, right? Mm-hmm. And what had happened was, he came back after 4 months, and the script had completely changed, and what they wanted us to do at the time, we weren't really comfortable doing, and we just said, you know, like, and we're family men, you know. I'm an only child. I like taking care of my parents. And Zim's got a brother and sister, but at the same time, he likes taking care of his parents too. They're getting older, so I just said, you know what, this is good. I gotta stay home and take care of my family. And Zim said that's the best decision for me as well. And that was it. And then after that, we didn't even think about wrestling. You know, all the offers or whatnot. We sat back and we're just like, you know, we're just gonna let this pandemic end. The pandemic never ended. You know what I mean?
I know,
You know,
I know.
It kept going. And then while we had all this free time, we started doing multiple different ventures. I got into housing and stuff like that, a lot of real estate stuff. And then Zim got his food prep companies and restaurants, and he's into all that stuff. And then we finally, like, when we talk all the time over the phone, and then we started fiddling around with this NFT world. And then we came up with this. So then we got busy with this. So we never really had a chance to sit back and be like, hey, man, we should grab our gear bag. We just never did, you know, so because we're so busy with doing all this other stuff, and which has been nice, you know, it's been nice.
So my question now, a year and a half off of no bumps, how good do your bodies feel right now? Do you
feel amazing? Honestly, I feel like I look the best. I feel the best.
Yeah.
We're both young. Like I was 20 when I got signed
with WWE.
I'm not gonna lie,
when I was prepping for this, I was like, you guys are so young. Holy shit. Babies.
Like I was 20 when I got signed. Zim was 19. We're both young, and then now I'm 28. Zim's 27, and we can still wrestle tomorrow if we wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can go. But I honestly do feel a lot better not traveling and just not taking bumps.
I bet. Gzim, tell me about your food trucks. I didn't know you had food trucks and you were into like restaurants
food prep
and stuff.
Companies.
A food prep company. I was like, you have a food truck? Bring it here. Yeah. How did you get involved in that?
Well, obviously every WWE wrestler almost eats a lot of meal preps. When I came back to the Netherlands, they weren't on that same level with the meal prepping. Of course, in the Netherlands, everybody eats for breakfast and lunch cold, and they don't eat warm. So they weren't into the meal prep company, but I saw there was a lot of need for it, right? Like a lot of athletes couldn't figure out where to get their meal prep from. Yeah. And that's how I started it with my brother, a Fit Life company. We started this meal prep company. It was very local first, just in our city. And then we expanded to like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and we just expanded like through the whole Netherlands within like 2 months. Wow. And from one kitchen, we expanded to 4 kitchens. And that's how we started our Fit Life company restaurant. We started 4 other restaurants, Vegan Bar Amsterdam, and many more. Like, we just became the restaurant kingpins in Amsterdam, like out of the blue. It was crazy. It was crazy.
God, you guys are wheeling and dealing. This is crazy. You guys have really done a lot in your year and a half to be so productive.
It just went so fast. And but yeah, of course, like our heart is still at wrestling, and coming back in this way, we love it a lot. But of course, like if everything would have happened, everything would have went well with WWE, we saw ourselves still wrestling for WWE, right? Yeah. I came back after hurting my bicep. I rehabbed it in 3.5 months, like in 14 weeks. I rehabbed a full torn bicep, and it was a double incision bicep repair that it did. Like usually that's 8 months of rehab. Ooh. I did it in 3.5 months. And I went back actually to the WWE office, and I told them I'm ready to go again. And they just cut us off. They said no. And we just said, like, what do you mean, right? I'm just gonna say it here, right? Like, we shook hands on something pretty big, and they didn't want to follow it up anymore after I got hurt and the pandemic started. So that's also one of the reasons why me and Sunny said, hey, we're gonna go home, right? We decided together we're gonna go home and do our things, man, because we're people that if you make a promise and you shake hands, you have to act on it, and you have to, come your promises. Yeah. Come after your promises. And once we feel like somebody doesn't do that, we cut you off right away. That's how we are. Yeah. With friends, with family, with business, that's how we are. Sure. And we shook hands, like, I don't know, like with a former somebody in the office, you probably know him, and that guy got let go. Yeah, we went through some shit with him, right? He made a lot of promises to us, and they didn't relive it. So we just felt like, hey, we're gonna go home, and we're done, man. We're done.
So it was not a very difficult decision for you guys to come to decide to pack things up.
No, it just, Renee, when me and Zim, when we first started wrestling in WWE, like training, we came from successful backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was our savior. You know what I mean? Like, it was something we wanted to do. Yeah. You know, a lot of guys like us get heat about it. Oh, they didn't come from the indies. They don't respect the business. No, we respect whatever we do. If we're devoting ourselves, moving from Canada, he's moving from Amsterdam to America, away from our families and learning a new craft from scratch. I don't know what else respect can we do.
Yeah.
You know, like we started our lives again and we fully went into that business and said, hey man, we're going to be the best we can. And that's what we did, you know, and we respected everyone we came across. I still thank everybody that helped us in our path. But at the end of the day, we're very disciplined in a way, and I'd say respect oriented. When like I didn't even mention it, but Gzim got into it. If we agree on something and my handshake is my bond. I do any deal in my life, whether it's real estate or anything. If I shake hands with somebody, that's my bond. And if the both parties or some party tries to flop out of it, that doesn't sit right with me. And the Zims that's why we get along so well, because we had the same morals and values in life. And that was one of those things where we're just like, okay, there's no ill will, no hard feelings. We just said, okay, that's your guys' decision. Well, this is our decision.
Yeah.
Right? Most people would be like, no, just stay with the company and take what you get. No, we don't need that. We do it our way, or it doesn't work, you know, because we've shown our respect where we moved and learned the craft, did whatever. We never said no to nothing. If Zim was 340 pounds at the time, and somebody asked him to take a suplex from a ladder, he didn't say it twice. He just said, okay, let's do it. And we were like that with anything. Getting hit by chairs, no problem. You always want to put us through table. I went through a table every week for like 4 months.
Yeah.
I said, no, I liked it. I enjoyed it. But it's because whatever we do, we try to do it the best we can. And that's just who we are. But at the same time, we expect the same in return. And it wasn't something that we didn't agree on. We agreed on something and they backed out of it for whatever their reasons are. And we just said, okay, it's all good. We opted out, right? And it just, in a way, it takes guts. You know what I mean? I like that. Like saying, hey, man, don't worry about it. In the middle of a pandemic, quitting your job, right? It's just but we're confident. We can do whatever we want. Like I can wrestle tomorrow. I can't become a doctor probably. That's probably overshooting it. But I can do pretty much. You're
still young. You might be able to. Who knows?
We can do pretty much anything we put our mind to. So it's like, why waste it? We're not gonna waste our time doing something that we're unhappy.
Yeah.
You know, like in a situation like we love wrestling. You know, we want to do wrestling. Like we love wrestling, but like we want to make it like so we're happy. Nothing's worse than going to the ring and you're unhappy backstage. That's the worst. That you get hurt, you're gonna hurt somebody. It doesn't make sense. A lot of people do it, you know. No, not knocking anybody. A lot of people do it, but it doesn't sit right with us, you know. So and as you can call us young and wise, or you can call us young and dumb, but that's who we are. You know?
So for you guys, when you guys got together, you guys both got signed really young. How did you guys become a tag team? What was sort of the origin stories of getting you guys together?
Honestly, I believe it was all Hunter's idea, right? It was Hunter, and I was at the Performance Center about 4 to 5 months before Zim was. And then as soon as he came in, I looked at him like, man, he looks just like me. Right. And this is before they even like said, hey, you guys going to be a tag team. We just started hanging out together like every day, you know, like because I didn't have any family there. He barely knew English, you know, and I understood every word he said, you know, where normal people didn't look at him like, what did he say? And everyone called him Gzim. Right?
Yeah.
And I think I was the only one that said his actual name is Gzim, guys. Come on.
Right. Right.
And we connected, and then further on, we got an apartment together. We started living together, and it was just like, I honestly, like, I'll say this on record, like, I wouldn't be able to do it if Zim wasn't there. Yeah. I would have left a long time ago. You know, I would have said, hey, man, it's all good. But
we got
I'm going back
home
home
in the Performance Center because, like Sunny said, we came from different backgrounds, and everybody looked at us like we're just there to steal money, right? Like you're here just for the WWE for the money. Like you're not a wrestler. Why haven't you? We've been wrestling for 10 years on the indie Bing halls. Like we've been giving our whole bodies. You guys are just here like to make money. Like everybody, like people don't know because we didn't complain about it.
That's
because
so
we can take a lot of
crazy.
shit. Yeah, we can take a lot of shit. Of course, I respect the people who did their thing in wrestling before WWE, like on the indies. But like where we come from, you know, we come from backgrounds like where wrestling just isn't that big. Like he grew up in a wrestling family. I grew up in a fight boxing family. So yeah. I actually became a professional MMA fighter at 17.
Yeah.
And people just don't know how much we left behind to go actually sign with WWE and go wrestle for WWE, go to the performance center. Like I never even told anybody in the Netherlands like what we went through in the performance center. Like people thought we were getting paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like just being in a performance center. I made more money at 17 from MMA sponsorship deals than I made in the WWE performance center. I left money behind. I left my family behind just because like it was an exciting adventure. Like I thought it was an exciting adventure for me, like to go to WWE, right? And we really stuck out there, like just because we were together, right? Like if we weren't there together, man, I think I couldn't do it, man. I think I would have left a long time ago. Like,
my father, he didn't talk to me for about 6 months because I made the decision to go to the WWE.
Stop. You know what I mean? Why did he not like it?
The thing was, I was at amateur wrestling and freestyle. I made my first national team at 13 years old. You know what I mean? So I was representing Canada all over the world. Yeah. And I had just taken a world bronze medal at the Junior Worlds in Sofia, Bulgaria in 2013 before I signed. And I had just medaled at Pan Am Games. So I was a medal hopeful in Rio, you know, and just being on the Olympic team. And that because we have our own wrestling club here in Abbotsford, and like that's what we do. We teach wrestling. And it was his life's work on working on me, right? And I decided to just sign a contract and go to Florida, right? So he didn't speak to me for like 6 months.
Wow.
And people don't realize that. They thought, oh, these guys are just here stealing money, like Zim just said. No, we actually wanted to do it. You know, we had careers, we had paths, you know, like, and we abruptly left those paths to start a totally new venture that we didn't know if we're going to make it, if we're going to make any money, or even if we're going to like it. But we just liked the wrestling part of it, and we enjoyed it. And then that's why when me and him got together, we clicked, and it was just that brotherhood. It was just, it's I can't even put a word on it because it was just something so beautiful and pure. You know what I mean? It's the same way now. Like, I don't think Zim like has ever doubted any decision I've made. You know, he always puts me in the front and says, hey, just figure it out. You know what I mean? And I'm the same way. Like, we're so confident in each other's decisions that we will blindly support each other, no matter what it is in life. You know,
that's rare.
And yeah, exactly. Like tag teams, some of them say, oh, you guys will grow. I remember all the old timers, when they see us, you guys are together all the time. You guys will go grow apart. You guys are going to hate each other. No, we don't. We love each other. You know what I mean? Like, that's my brother. I never had, right? So, and like it was the fact that we stuck together, and that's what made it beautiful for me. Otherwise, honestly, I would have left a long time ago.
What was your guys' experience when you were getting signed, coming from your respective different backgrounds and having this opportunity from WWE come up? What was the process of going from one into the other and getting signed?
So it was just, I was wrestling freestyle, and Gerald Briscoe, he scouted me. And basically at the time I said, oh, I had commitments to Canada Wrestling, and I couldn't even do a tryout. And he was just like, hey, you just come out to Florida and just for 3 days. That's when tryouts were in Tampa, FCW.
Got it.
Right. And I said, you know what? It's 3 days. Like it wasn't even 3 days. It was 2 days. The one day we just hung out. And as soon as we did that, and he goes, I think it was Bill DeMott, Canyon Seaman, and Gerald Briscoe. They go, hey, we want to hire you. And I go, I can't. Right. I got Commonwealth championships coming up. I can't. I got to represent my country. Right. I'm the number one guy in my country. I owe it to them. They're like, what do you mean? Like WWE's off? I'm like, I can't. Right. And then that was it. And I came back, started wrestling. And then honestly, I was at Simon Fraser University at the time. And one day I finished morning training. I was like, hey man, maybe I'm going to go try that for a couple of weeks. Cause it was like, the national just happened. The season just ended. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go try it out, you know? And I was like, hey, is that offer still stand or whatever? Can I come wrestle? Right? In my head, I'm going to go there, train for a little bit, and I'm going to be on TV. Right? I'm like, yeah, because I'm good at what I do. I can wrestle. Right? I came there and I was doing forward rolls for 2 months. Right? I'm going, hey, I'm talking to people back home. They're like, oh, how's it going? When are you coming on TV? Right? And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just doing forward rolls. I'm actually pretty good at it. I'm like, there's some guys can't even do forward rolls. Right? And,
that's so funny.
Right? And so it was like, that was my process. And then what happened was, at the time, Bill left and Matt Bloom took over. And then he knew that guys like me were like ready to just leave. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not here to do forward rolls, right? I'm not wasting my youth here. And he started involving us more into the wrestling part of it, just letting us in free time, letting us wrestle. That's when Zim was around too. And then we would wrestle each other. Then it was just, we liked that part of it. You know, the actual wrestling part of it, it's beautiful. Like, people who don't know, that's the best part of it. Like, it's awesome. Right? Yeah.
So you don't want to do forward rolls?
No, I don't want to do forward rolls. I never did a forward roll after that. I said I would never do a forward roll.
Gzim, what was your experience? You got signed in Dubai, right?
Yeah. So I actually was on a training camp in England, in London, and I actually was there at training camp at a good buddy's gym, and they were actually a sponsor of mine, and TK MMA and Fit, and I was there training, and there's this guy walking around. Back in the time, I didn't know it was Kenyan Seaman. And he was actually looking for Arab talent just in a regular gym. He just went throughout every gym in Dubai, and he was looking for big Arab guys. I'm not Arabian, I'm Albanian. I'm Albanian, but he liked the look, and he said, hey, we have tryouts next month here in Dubai, and I'm just looking for some extra people like that want to join. If you like it, come join. I said, I have a fight in 2 weeks, but if I knock him out within the first round, I will come. And I ended up knocking him out with a flying knee in 16 seconds. Whew. And I call him up. He gave me his number.
A flying knee from you? Oh, my
flying
God.
Knee. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd be dead.
You got to see it. It's on YouTube. You got to see it.
Oh, my God. I'm going to look that up
Ollie
after
Thompson.
this.
Yeah. Me versus Ollie Thompson. I actually faked the takedown. He went downwards with his head, and I threw up the knee, and he was flush on his head. But so I called him up, right? I said, yo, Kenyan, I just won. I actually called him the next day. I said, I just won within 16 seconds. I sent him the video through iMessage. He checked it out. He said, brother, we need you at this tryout. Please come. I said, I'm not Arab, though. Is that a problem? Because I hadn't told him back then. He said, it's not a problem. Can you speak Arabian words? I said, yeah, sure. I couldn't, but I thought I figured out
yes,
like I learned it.
Yeah, of course. Later, yeah.
It was WWE, right? I knew of WWE. So I thought it's an opportunity, right? I'm going to try it. And so I fly out next month. He flies me in, and we did the tryout. Actually, me and my brother together, we did the tryout because my brother's a copy of me, but he's maybe just a little bit lazier than me, right, in some aspects. But he was a professional MMA fighter. So
way to go, bury your brother.
So we actually both did the tryout, and Bill Damott at that time and William Regal were there, and William Regal just begged me. He said, "You're going to be something so big." He said, we have people in the performance center already, but we need you, man. Like, you're going to be something so big. I just turned 18 at that time. It was a couple days after my birthday. And he said, you're so young. He said, you'll have a lifetime career at WWE if you want to come join. And William Regal said, this is made for you. He said, actually, the last day of the tryouts was promo day. And I had to speak Arab because I still hadn't told that I wasn't speaking Arab. The first 2 days were just like conditioning and strength. So I'm standing there. Sami Zayn is sitting there right next to the camera with William Regal and Bill Damott. And Sami Zayn speaks fluently Arab.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the camera and they say, can you give me a 20-second, 30 to 30-second Arab promo and let it sound as aggressive as possible? And I just knew like a couple words. Kif halik, how are you? That's what I learned from the guys in the gym. And I'm just looking at the mirror and I'm just like shaking my head from aggressivity, right? Like trying to show how angry I'm, saying Kif halik like that. And they said, stop. And then Sami Zayn says, yo, you actually speak Arabian? I said, no, I'm Albanian, but I can learn it. Like, I hadn't told him yet. And he says, dude, it says here you speak Arabian. I said, I don't. And then William Regal stood up. He said, it doesn't matter what language you speak. Your face tells the story. Give me a 10-second stare down in this camera.
Leave it to Sami Zayn to call you out, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Typical
but he was
Wait
great
a minute.
throughout everything. But they all stood behind the camera and checked in the little camera screen, and I just gave my most aggressive look in the camera for 10 seconds. I started sweating instantly from shaking my head that much. Like, my blood pressure probably went up to 200 at that moment. And William Regal said, that face is going to sell out arenas. We want you to come to Orlando, Florida. And he said, we want to sign your brother too. And my brother obviously didn't end up signing because he wanted to stay in the Netherlands. He had more things going on there with his companies. And I ended up signing, and that's how we met, man. Me and Sunny. Yeah, wow. That's how when I flew out like 2 months later. Usually you get like drawn in with a group of guys. I went by myself. They wanted me in the performance center as soon as possible. They wanted me in as soon as possible. I came by myself. The first week they gave me a chair to sit down alone, watch all the trainings, and the week after it we started training.
Wow, that's crazy. What else was your relationship with William Regal like? I mean, that guy is just a well of knowledge.
He was so good to us.
He was the best to us. Legit.
We love him. He loves us.
Yeah, the first year in Orlando, he almost texted me every day. We texted on a regular basis. I was sending him videos of promos like in the bathroom of my apartment in Orlando in Winter Park. And I was just sending him promos. And he said, yeah, that's the way to go, kid. Like, keep sending them. And I was sending them every day, just different promos. Like he said, shoot on Brock Lesnar, shoot on Rusev, shoot on this guy, shoot on that guy. Like, I made promos for everybody. And actually, he was also like very, very, very helpful. Like, in our first beginning, especially when me and Sunny teamed up together, he fully believed in us, He loved Sunny just as much as me. I think it was also a little bit because he was a pretty big guy too, right? Like himself. And he loved the way we could tell stories with our faces and how bad we actually looked. And he always told me and Sunny, you guys are Heyman guys. You guys will be Heyman guys, so you guys will always be Heyman guys. And I think he had a big thing in bringing Paul Ellering with us as well when we just debuted.
Yeah. So how did that all come together with Paul Ellering, and what was your relationship like with him when he came in as your guys' manager?
So we didn't actually know that we were getting Paul Ellering as a manager. And honestly, we didn't know we were debuting. And because I think we had like 4 or 5 matches together on house shows all around Florida there with NXT. And then randomly before, I think it was the takeover, The End. And it was a Revival at the time, and American Alpha, I believe. They had a match, and then we came in after. And literally that morning, we got a text from Matt Bloom that said, hey, meet us at the Performance Center at 10 a.m. And I'm like, oh, man, we're probably in trouble again. I wasn't wearing my dress shirt at the house show or something like that. Because then we got to go, And we go there and it's empty and there's nobody there. And then Bloom goes, we're going to get in the ring, just roll around. And then we see Paul walk out and he's watching us, and him and I think it was William Regal together. And they're watching us. And what was happening was he wanted to see us before he got put together with us. And right away he said, yeah, I'll do this. And then when we debuted and Paul came out, and it was something so big, and like because he had a lot of offers from other tag teams to manage other tag teams, and he turned them all down because he didn't feel like it fit, and because he has a huge legacy obviously to keep up, right? And
they actually never really told us before our debut that Paul Ellering would come out. Like they left the option to Paul Ellering because from our knowledge, like. He was actually like he already had declined a lot of people before us. That's what they told us, and that's what Paul later on told us as well. Like we jumped on Jordan and Gable, American Alpha, and like obviously Matt Bloom told us backstage like, hey, you guys might be teaming up with Paul Ellering, you guys might be teaming up, but they never really told us Paul Ellering is going to walk out and you guys actually have to be standing next to him. Like we jumped, we did our thing, like we beat American Alpha up at that time, and we were just standing there, and all of a sudden we hear the crowd cheer like crazy. we thought, are they cheering us? Like, then we look and it's Paul Ellering. So it all went just smoothly, but they never really told us that Paul Ellering is going to walk out and be our manager. Like, they never really told. I think they left the option to him, like, till the last second, right? Because he had a legacy, obviously, with Legion of Doom, and they didn't want to mess that up. So they gave him the option and he accepted it eventually. Yeah.
And then we clicked. Like, we meet.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, us and Paul talk on a weekly basis still.
Oh,
Still,
that's awesome.
I always pick his brain about stocks and different stuff and just his crazy workouts. He just still does crazy workouts.
He's flying to the Metaverse with us.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He's flying with us to the Metaverse.
Hell
so
yeah.
I've had the honor of trying to introduce him to the Metaverse, and it's the best thing ever because he had no clue, you know.
Yeah.
And I call him every other day, and I'd be like, "Hey, Paul, so this is what's." Oh, that's great. Even if he doesn't get it, he loves us to a fact where he's unconditional support. He's like, and then because the whole time we're away, he's like, we got to get back to wrestling, boys. And we just like, yeah, Paul, we're just super busy, blah, blah, blah. And then when I introduced his Metaverse stuff, Paul goes, oh, that's great. Different. Let's do it. Yeah. You know, that's how he is.
Yeah.
And we have a really good relationship with him.
That's so cool. I love that. What was it like when you guys went from NXT to debuting on the main roster? That sort of like journey from one into the other.
It was very different, you know, very different. From NXT, we were wrestling all the time. And then when we got to the main roster, we did a couple things and then boom, nothing. And we're like, what's going on? Did we do something wrong? No, it was just, at the time, the boss just said, basically, these guys are too big, too special. We got to do something good with them. Mm-hmm. But that something good didn't come around for like 8 to 9 months. We were there. We just hung out catering. We just hung out, you know, and just
everybody's looking at us like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, sitting and catering all the time, eating our food, right? Like, we're eating like we're, you know, NXT, right? There's no catering. We saw catering, like we smashed it, like eating cake, eating steaks, like 3-4 steaks a day. Like
I still miss those cookies.
Yeah,
they were
the
good,
cookies, right? And yeah, we went on doing nothing for so long, and then I think we had one random match. I don't know how it came about. It was on. It was the main event of Raw, and we walked into the arena, and everyone's like, "Oh, congrats, guys! Congrats, guys!" And I'm like, I'm looking at them, like, congratulating because we haven't done anything for months, dude, right? And then we get into the locker room. We were teaming with Corbin, and we faced the Shield. Yeah. Right. And that was like, I guess somebody wanted to see if we can work. You know what I mean? And at the Shield, they're the top guys at the time, right? They're doing everything, right? And they go, yeah, you guys have a match with them. And honestly, I think even John, Seth, Roman was always like, oh, these guys are just like me, because he has a football background, right?
Yeah.
John and Seth, they were like, oh, I don't know if these guys can even wrestle, right? So they're just kind of like, yeah, we'll put it together. Anyways, we'd have the match, and then honestly, I remember this. You can tell John this, eh? We have the match, and it turned out to be a good match. And John comes to the back and goes, he looks at it, he goes, hey man, you guys are pretty good. Right?
High praise considering he doesn't dole out compliments all that often. Right? Trust me, I'm married to him.
Right?
I gotta beg for compliments.
I go to Zim, I said, you see that shit? We're good, huh? And then after that, we had that match, and then we did nothing for a couple more months.
Oh my
gosh. Till Heyman took over, and then Heyman goes, dude, we gotta do something with you guys. Like, we can't have you guys, because we're like, dude, we're just flying around eating catering. We're going from city to city on a catering tour, right? And then Heyman had this great idea, and then and then that was it. We did good.
What about when you guys started working with Spud, with Drake Maverick?
Oh yeah, that honestly, it was a good time because Spud's so talented. You know what I mean? Yeah. Spud, he can do pretty much anything.
The dude gets released, then rehired, released,
rehired. That's crazy, right?
You can't deny the talent. Now? I think he's in a creative role with the company right now. I read that online. I don't know for sure, but I did read that somewhere. Crazy.
Yeah, no, he's so talented. And then it was only a short. I think it was I think 3 months we had with him, and we actually became tag champions during that run because I think it was Seth and John that were the champs at the time, and then John kind of was leaving Seth. That was the whole storyline, right? And then we were tag champs for the short period of time. Then Spud got pinned in one of the matches. We lost the tag titles because of Spud. And
Spud.
then we came back when
Screwed
he
everything.
was back. Yeah.
He screwed up everything.
That's what I always says. He screwed up everything. I blamed that second 2-3 months of not working to Spud. I said, you lost our titles. We can't even work anymore.
And actually, once we became Raw champions, like, that's where, like, we had a phase, right? Like, I don't want to say because we didn't have much work when we signed with Raw that everybody was good to us. But we saw, like, once we didn't have much work, like, we got called up, everybody was a little bit quiet to us. Once we didn't have much work, right? We were sitting at catering. Everybody started being so friendly to us, right? Like, very nice. And then we became champions. And we see, like, guys just turn 360 on us. Like, completely 360, right? And I'm just looking at some people like, damn, what did I do wrong? And we actually got on a European tour after it. And that European tour, obviously, we had so much fun, right? Like, with some of the guys in the back, Roman, John, obviously, we had a lot of fun in the back.
I can imagine.
We had a lot of like people like who started heat out of nowhere. For example, like, there's this story like that I've never told like many people, right? And actually, John backed me up on this one, right? Like, the new guys, we were still the new guys, like, and we had to actually, like, the new guys, supposedly, we didn't know, have to lift up the beers, the big crate of beers from the bus to the hotel. Like, and we didn't know that, right?
We didn't drink.
So we walk into the hotel, we're sitting, I'm waiting in the line for catering, like, to eat at the hotel because I was hungry after the match, right? And they didn't care, obviously, because we were champions, but that didn't play in my mind. Like, I just didn't know. And somebody went up to me. Actually, Corbin went up to me, and eventually we squared everything off. It's good. He wants something. He says, "Hey, young boy, you gotta pick up that crate of beers, man, and bring it back to the hotel." And I look around and said, "Excuse me?" And he said, I did the same thing when I was a young boy. You got to pick up the beer, man. I'm thirsty," or something like that. I said, "Are you seriously talking to me like this? Like, you cannot ask nicely if you said, 'Hey, bro, do you want to please grab those beers, man?' Everybody who's new does that, right? It's the way to go. But you call me a young boy in front of everybody here, man? Are you serious?" So I said, "Baron, come here, man." Like, in front of the whole crowd, everybody went quiet. I said, "Come here." I said, "Are you seriously talking to this?" He goes, "I apologize, this, that," right? Like, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I did it. Everybody does it. And actually, like, a lot of things like that happened once we became champions.
Right.
And we were just cool. Like, we were just cool. But people thought because we were new when we became champions that we were going to start turning into dickheads. Like, we didn't, right? We were nicest guys still as champions. Like, we don't care if we're champions or not. Obviously, everybody knows it's scripted. So we didn't care. And we saw a lot of, like, people turn different way, right? Like, once that happened. And it just, I guess that's the way it goes everywhere, right? Not just in wrestling. Like, it goes everywhere like that once you get success.
Yeah, it's having that success, and also, like, just like the built-in traditions like that of, like, bringing up the beers. The new guys got to do that. And, like, when you don't know, even though those things can be very dumb, but I mean, it's also usually just in fun. But it is, when you don't know and you don't know what those rules are. Like, I remember when I first started, like, I didn't come from a wrestling background either, but I didn't know about having to go up and shake everyone's hand. And, like, the last thing I wanted to do was, like, interrupt, like, Shawn Michaels talking to Hunter to go up to shake their hands. I'm like, they're having a conversation. They don't need my dumbass popping my head in there saying, "Hey." But, like, I had no idea how that worked. It, like, took me a second to, like, adjust that. I'm like, I don't want to get any heat. I don't know how this shit goes. But it can be.
I'm sure me and Zim, we got lots of heat. But, like, honestly, we're not bad people. You know, that's what I always said to Zim. I said, dude, we're good people. The good people, they're going to be good to us because they're good people. But the shitty people, they're going to be shitty to them no matter what. Like, you can do whatever to them. They're always going to be shitty.
And eventually, we were good with everybody. Like, eventually,
I will say, I don't feel like I ever heard a bad word about either of you, ever.
No.
Like, we were good eventually, like, with everybody. Like, the locker room loved us. We loved the locker room back. Like, we had a great time eventually. Like, towards the end, like, we're killing it. When we were with Seth, everybody loved us. We loved them back. It was cool, man. We hung out. Like, it was really cool.
So Gzim, but when you were in MMA, I was kind of briefed on this story recently about when you had to be escorted out of a building by security after one of your fights. What happened?
So actually, well, you have to hear a little bit backstory. Right? I'm from Kosovo, and we were in a war, like in 1994 till 1998. Like, we were in a war with Serbia, and I had a fight in Bosnia on the border with Serbia. It's actually a Serbian part. And a lot of people call me crazy going there to fight. But at that time, I was 17 years old. I was crazy, right? I just didn't care. I just wanted to fight. And I go there, and I had to fight somebody, I don't know, I think he was from Romania or something. But he hopped out last second. He got injured or something. So they said, just come to the press conference the day prior and hang out there, talk a little bit, you know, get your name out there. So I went to this conference, and they tell me my fight got canceled. All of a sudden, this Serbian guy, Mario Milosavljevic, he stands up. He says, I want to fight this boy. And like, everybody goes quiet, like, you know, like, is this gonna work? You already have a fight planned? He said, no, I want to fight him. I said, well, I want to fight you then. If you want to fight me, right, let's go tomorrow. And let's go in 2 days, right? Like, the next day were the weigh-ins. We weigh in, we stare down, right? Like 20 people around us, so nobody got in a fight. And it was actually the first time in history an Albanian versus a Serbian in that promotion, BKFC. And they were already scared. They were telling me, like, do the match, don't do anything crazy, and get the hell out of the arena and just go to the hotel. If we tell you you're good at the hotel, go to the airport or go back to Albania, right? Cross the border. So I do the fight. I choked him outstandingly. Like, I actually lifted him up by his head from the ground. He was with 2 feet completely off the mat, and he got choked out. He was completely unconscious. And I made this joke the day prior to my brother. I said, if I knock him out or choke him out in the first round, I'm going to do the Tito Ortiz. I'm going to bury him, I'm going to drag his body and cover it up with sand. And my brother said, if you do that, you're going to cause a ruckus. This is going to be crazy. And I didn't even like plan to do it really, but it just went automatically. All the adrenaline from choking him out within like 12, 13 seconds. I choked him out and I started burying, and I drag his body and I do this to the crowd. Once I did this, I see chairs flying. I see glass bottles flying. I see just a complete ruckus. And the promoter is actually like telling us, all hell's breaking loose, guys. What the what did you do? So all the security guards come, all the police officers come, and they're actually already calling a SWAT team, like, just for the ruckus that's going on. Like, the whole show got stopped for like an hour and a half. Like, I was a co-main event. The main event had to wait an hour and a half before everybody was back seated down. Half of the arena got left out. And we got escorted like by police and an MA group to the hotel. And they said, when is your flight? I said, next morning. He said, no, you can't wait. I said, what do you mean? They said, you can't wait. You got to leave right now because you're not in charge. We're not in charge for your security. If you go on the street, you're done. You're dead. Like, I was there with my dad and my brother, with my coach. We're the 4 of us, right? They said, if you go on the street, we're telling you you're dead. If you want us, we escort you to the airport or to the border. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? There's no flights to the Netherlands. Border is like 12 hours away. I'm not going to go driving 12 hours. So we decided to stay at the hotel. And actually, the hotel pushed us out at night. They said, we don't want you in the hotel, right? So they pushed us out. And we just hopped in the car and we just started driving back to the Netherlands. And
oh my
took, I think, like a 30-hour drive back to the Netherlands. And we just drove. I made history. It became like I got on more than, I think, 100 news channels all over Yugoslavia. Holy and everywhere. Shit.
Like, were you receiving so many threats?
Oh, definitely. Like, even like just in the Netherlands from Serbian people, right? Obviously, for me, war is always out of our hands. So I have nothing to do with war. I respect everybody. It doesn't matter where they come from, right? I'm in Kosovo right now. I respect everybody, but it's entertainment. I'm an entertainer, right? And I like to like test the limits of people. And I just did what I did. I got escorted out. I still respect everybody. You know, I respected the guy as well. Like, shook his hand, and I gave him a little slap behind the head, like, good job. And that was it. That was it. Yeah.
Any plans to get back in the cage?
For now, we're too busy with our project, right? Like, we could have gone back to our roots. I could have gone in the metaverse as an MMA fighter as well. But even MMA for me doesn't feel bigger than real life. Like, I love wrestling. We both love wrestling. Obviously, we've done it for 6.5 years in the States, and we really love it. So we want to continue wrestling for now and see how the future goes, right?
All right. So wrestling is coming at some point in the real world. We will wait and see what happens with that. And for people that want to check out Bull Ape Planet, where do they go? What do they do? How do people get in on this?
Well, our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Bull Ape Planet. And we'll join our Discord. We have a Discord. We have more than 6,000 members within like 4 weeks. And we're engaging there every day. Our Discord, Bull Ape Planet. Join it, join the community, join the family, see the real AOP. Sunny is in there, I'm in there. We have professional soccer players, mental health coaches. We got everything. So it's a beautiful place to be. And if you want to get to know us, just join the Discord.
Yep, join the Discord. Come hang out.
Hell yeah, guys. So excited for you. Proud of all the work that you've been putting in. You guys are kicking ass, man. So cool to see you venture in to some new markets, staying so busy since parting ways with WWE. But also, I cannot wait to see you guys get back in the ring. I'll be waiting.
Yeah. Thank you for your time,
I'll
Renee.
be watching.
Thank you for your time, Renee.
Thank you guys so much.